Back at Daytona International as Ricky Rudd trying Al Unser Jr. one more time. Bill Elliott down there to help. And they have got little Al stuck out alone on the high side of the track. The two stock car greats tacked together now. Here comes Davey Allison as well to close in. There's three stock car drivers down low. On the high side, little Al will get some help from Lyondike.
Rudd is one of the fastest learners in racing. Look at this view from his car back to the car right behind him, and you see the suspension travel on the banking. It's Bill Elliott back there in the red car, number 10. Look at that, 2 or 3 inches of suspension travel.
Moving around the high banks, Daytona International, they have been swapping the lead back and forth. And as you can see right there, all 12 are still in this contest. No incidents thus far in the IROC, a smooth run, a great start. Juan Fangio on the pole, but he's fallen steadily backwards in the field and now runs in 8th place. Harry Gant has been moving with surges forward into the field, then dropping back. Gant now runs in last position.
Rudd is one of the fastest learners in racing history. He was NASCAR's Rookie of the Year, and of course, in his first year, and he won IROC in his first year.
So Ricky Rudd, with Bill Elliott and Al Unser Jr. right on his tail, continues to run very high on the race course. And look, all 12 of them are still in very close contact. Now, these Dodge Daytonas are remarkable aerodynamic vehicles. Aerodynamics can affect speed, stability, and safety. Let's go to Jack Arute with a further update.
IROC mechanics have always concentrated both upon speed and safety. Starting last year and again this year, there are 2 devices on board these Dodge Daytonas that address both of those issues. The first is a side skirt that runs along the bottom of the passenger side of the car. And the second is this plexiglass window. Now, at speed, these 2 devices provide aerodynamic assistance to the car. But in the case of an accident, specifically a side spin, that's when the safety element comes into play. Before their introduction into IROC competition, cars would often fill with air and you'd see them lift up off the ground and sometimes even flip backwards. Since the side panel and the side skirt have been introduced, we more often than not see the cars staying firmly planted on the ground. Maybe just a little lift, but not like what we saw before their introduction. Now, you may also wonder what happens for the driver if the exit out of the driver's side is blocked. Well, he has 2 choices. The first, should the truck crew get there first, they can detach these 2 Zeus fasteners and open the window. Or if the driver needs to make a hasty exit, he can pull out these 2 latches and simply push the window out.
Battle opens up at the front. You watch from Al Unser Jr. as the front bumper on his car. He tucks in behind Rudd as the front of the field changes once again, and this time it's Bill Elliott in front.
And how familiar is this scenario in IROC racing as we see Rudd charging by into the lead with Al Jr. right behind him. I was going to say that Al Jr. left with a pack of NASCAR men to duke it out for the lead. We've seen this over and over again.
That whole pass became a little Al bumping Rudd, and he bumped him. Remember, I said they gained about 5 miles an hour down the straightaways when you get bumped. Boom. And he bumped him right past Elliott.
Alan Kowicki sitting in 4th place trying to get into the fight. He has 2 Indy champions right behind him. And again, it's Davey Allison using a lower line, and he's picking up some help from Jack Baldwin in that powder blue car. Way Lloyd there as they come onto the high banks. That gives you a great view of the tremendous banking here at Daytona as they come onto the backstretch.
It is a beautiful day here in Florida. It was raining hard last night, and still into this morning. It cleared off perfectly.
Again, Al Unser Jr. comes to the front of the field. Looking back in the field, there is Baldwin now with Davy Jones. The line-colored car pulls up, and they begin to separate out at least into pairs. We see Jeff Brabham in the darker blue car as he closes in, and they leave Jack Baldwin out.
Jones, as you said, in that lime-colored car has been all over the place. He was back to next to last, and now he's come up to battle in the middle of the pack.
But now the stock car drivers are beginning to show their expertise on the super speedway. They occupy 3 of the top 4 positions. We'll be back. Round number 1 of IROC 17 as Ricky Rudd, Al Unser Jr. and Bill Elliott have now begun to pull away.
Almost 3 seconds now separating the first three from the rest of the pack. 2.73 seconds on that lap. Remember, there are no radios, no pit signals. You've got to be very alert as to how many laps remain in the race and what your strategy is going to be.
10 laps remaining. They've got to start doing some thinking. I see Lyondike starting to team up. I'm watching the guys back in the second group right there. He's been bumping Davy Jones. Now they've got to team up. It's the only way they can catch. There's Davy Allison.
Davy Allison and Kulwicki as they go way high. It's a five-way battle for fourth place.
I don't think that's much of a gain up there, but they're just trying anything they can. They realize that it's hopeless. They can't do something to try to catch that front group. And you can look up way ahead there and see those three front cars.
Davy Jones in line leads this group, but boy, look at him skate back and forth. He almost got it totally loose. Let's go down to Jackaroo.
We've already told you about that terrific finish in a dead heat for second position in last year's Daytona edition of IROC. Let me show you why they made it a dead heat. Despite the fact that NASCAR utilizes sophisticated television equipment, officials could not determine a difference, an edge between Ricky Rudd or Harry Gant as they came to the stripe. This equipment will record images at over 120 frames per second. After running 100 miles at over 180 miles per hour, both Rudd and Gant came across that yellow stripe side by side.
Looking back, the separation between the top three and the rest of the field, and it is literally that. The top three, the rest of the field, with Harry Gant a little bit behind. As one car lets go.
That's Fangio down on the grass, and he actually...
Big Al up into the wall, took a head-on shot to the wall.
Whoa.
And the yellow comes out. The yellow laps in the IROC do not count.
Big Al got down in the grass. He was going fairly straight. It looked like what he was trying to do was just drive through the grass and catch the pavement still going straight. Unfortunately, it rained all night. The grass is wet, and you can see by the tracks on the grass. He just lost his traction.
Let's take a look now to see what happened.
There's Big Al. He got out and just got Davy, squeezed him into the wall. A little too tight. Davy had no place to go. There's Big Al going across the grass. See the water flying off the tires? And he goes out and hits the wall. Now we're on board with Davy Allison, the in-car cam. He's up on the high side of the track. Big Al's right there on the left. He's squeezing Davy to the wall. He touches him. Davy turns to the left to protect himself. Spins Big Al sideways. Now we can see it from the back now. Let's see what happens.
Well, Al Unser is climbing out of his battered number 5. He appears to be okay after that hard contact with the wall. The yellow caution period will not count toward the laps, but it will close everyone else up behind Ricky Rudd, Unser Jr., and Bill Elliott. We'll be back.